Real news, real issues, real people. It's Ceola Wilson One-on-One.
Explain it to me like I'm 6 years old because I'm in the dark.
Layman.
How many commercial fishermen are there? Like, how does that whole process work? Like, is it a breakdown between commercial, recreation? Like, and what happens to your license when you pop off? And on and on and on. Like, where are we? Because, and how could you talk about all this stuff when you haven't straightened out all of this?
Yeah, the problems confronted by the industry and the managers are massive. You know, currently, when first started, limited entries first started, we had 200 licenses issued. Currently, through attrition, death, the removal of license because of fishermen done something against their regulations, it's now, I think, about 165 licenses available. You know, if a fisherman is found to be in breach of regulations, it goes before the Commercial Fishermen's Council, CFC, and they hear the case and they make a decision. There's room for appeal up to the minister, and he can make the ultimate decision whether the fisherman remains in the industry or he gets out. The problem is that in the event of, to your question, the death of a fisherman, if that fisherman who's departed siblings, now if that fisherman departed and one, he wasn't full-time qualified, and two, he didn't do the paperwork to have one of his siblings, a son, daughter, wife,
Take over.
he hadn't done it, that license will revert back to the department / the government. You know, you have, in order to have the privilege to move the license from a senior fisherman of age down to his next sibling, that senior fisherman over the years has to be full-time. He has to be designated full-time by the Commercial Fishermen's Council. And then, like myself, I had to do the same thing. I'm a full-time fisherman, but through the help of Craig, the Fisheries Extension Officer at the department at that time, and I filled out the paperwork, and now my son is the benefactor, will be the benefactor
Right.
of my license in the event
Okay,
that I
so
passed.
just say I'm Joe Blow, a young guy's got a boat, and I want to be a licensed fisherman. I go down to the fisheries department. What's my chances of getting a license?
You're not gonna get a license from the department. You have to wait and go out into the marketplace, meaning the industry, see if anyone is willing to sell the license. Licenses now, I stand to be corrected, range between $25,000 and $35,000 per license.
But you can't just go get one.
No, you can't get one because
But
it's limited
that's
entry.
not sustainable.
That is, it's not sustainable, and it's difficult for all those young fishermen whose families don't have the financial wherewithal to fork out $25,000, $35,000 for a license. There's no hope of that same individual going down to the department and getting a license from the government. There's no hope. So that fisherman, that youngster, is between a rock and a hard place. Then he now has to make a decision. What is he going to do? He's not educated where he's going to sit up.
Catch fish or sell drugs, yes?
Catch fish or sell drugs. You struck it on the head. And now a lot of fishermen, they don't want to get into drugs. They want to do what they know they can do best. Go out there and catch fish.
But
They come in, this is real, being real now, and they sell the fish on the side in order to make ends meet,
Right.
provide for the parents, provide for the children.
so
It's difficult. It's a
you
difficult,
have all
difficult
these
situation.
regulations, and you have to file your catch. Who's verifying the catch? Because I don't see nobody in court for
No, it really.
So y'all are good people, huh?
Go ahead, Craig.
You don't sneak no extra lobsters here.
This is the crux of a matter that affects the assessment of global capture fisheries all over the world. Okay, but and for islands, especially our island, because of its long-term association with everyone who can fishing from shoreline, a small boat or a bigger boat, our culture of catching fish is so rich. And that is why we have to put a lot of concern in our blanket offering, which is stewardship. And So it's very difficult to have people out and verifying catches. We see stuff that's coming from Florida and the southeast coast where you have field officers.
You import more fish than what you guys
We have been importing more fish, I would say, from the mid-'70s onward than the local capture fishery, because we're always expecting a lot from a limited size resource. I'm saying that we are paying a price for not diversifying part of our capture fishery to perform as good stewards on the open ocean.
But this is not rocket science. You don't have to be a Barclay to get it, for God's sake.
No, and you don't go to Berkeley in 1967 talking about fisheries development and want to be a commercial fisherman when you grow up either, for that matter. But anyway, we have a rich history of putting all our eggs in a big business basket. For the longest time, that basket was a big basket with one handle, and that one handle was called tourism.
Yeah. And then
exempt company business.
They forgot about
with its preferential treatment. We can't even
about the money.
determine if we want to call Bermuda
but there was nothing
a tax
wrong
haven
with
or a domicile.
When you let me say this, Bermuda at one time was the diamond in the crown with tourism, and along came exempt company, when we've been hurt. There was nothing wrong with maintaining boats.
No.
But you forgot about that guy.
How about the guys who were forgotten? The Allen Bean seniors and the Allen Bean juniors.
Oh man.
Allen Senior was a treasure. He is a treasure.
He was taxi, he was fisherman, he was this, he was that. A farmer.
And it is because of lessons learned from our seniors.
But that guy doesn't exist anymore.
They exist in him.
Well, yes, but I mean, it's not being captured.
That's why we are being here. This is why we are here, in order to represent.
No, you said, I said, what do you want? Is 20% too big? Do you want 10%? You said what you want is fisheries management. You're saying we don't have real fisheries management?
We don't have targeted management of our marine resources.
What does that mean?
It means if pollution is the problem,
okay. We don't
address
do
the
that.
pollution. Yeah. When rockfish were an issue, the fishermen identified to government and the scientists where the rockfish grounds were.
Right.
They would not have been protected without the commercial fishermen's advocacy. So when protection is needed, like the rockfish,
or the anchovies,
commercial fishermen are right there at the forefront. But it has to be targeted. So now there is an MPA around the rockfish area.
Okay.
Because it's based on a species that was under threat. So identify the threats and then take the management action.
Okay.
It's very simple. But when you just slap a protected label, full protection, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't mean anything.
A couple of weeks ago on the causeway, we saw unprecedented movement by associations come together, the farmers, the fishermen, the taxis, teachers, and that number's growing. Why did you join that? And what do you see coming out of it? Start with you.
My brother was involved from the beginning with the initial organizers, and he ran across me, and I said, yeah, because it gives us more voice.
But your premier, when asked about it the following day, just brushed it. Yeah, we listen to you next. So
yeah, that's the problem. That's going to be at his demise/behest, because all them people, as my brother said, for all of us who was there and our associated family members were all voters. Right? It's going to get down to politics now. Right? All the government will have 32 seats versus 36. Right? Not all of those persons in 32 seats went by massive landslides.
No.
Some were tight. So you take all them numbers of the people that were down there and their associated family members, put together all the votes. It's very possible, most probable, that the government of the day will start losing lots and lots of fleets. The more this grows in momentum, the more different industries, entities become collectively united together, right? And make our voices heard as a unit. the more people will
But you know how Bermudians are.
they will.
Talk a lot of mess and then they go to the polls and do what they normally do.
That's true. But the thing is for us to keep driving it, driving the point,
Yes.
driving the message. Stay to the wicket and keep on banging away as a collective unit. The various entities, we all come together and we keep going to keep the thought of the protest message in the minds of the general population, so that when it comes to voting time, their thoughts are fresh in the minds of the voter when we go to the polls.
Next.
Then they send a message.
You say,
Mine is less politics and more process improvement. The consultation process that has been instituted across these different industries
it's a joke.
has been the same, and it's been completely ineffective. I don't really mind who's in office. I just want the process to improve for public consultation. Bermuda is too small for party politics. It's too small not to go talk to people.
It's too small to be about, not be about country over all of it.
Yes.
You know, we've been out here on our own from day one. Somehow we're looking for some expert from across the border to sort it out. I never got that mentality.
No, we need to talk to each other.
We are all about Bermudian solutions to Bermudian issues.
No, but we need an expert from abroad.
We have more experts here than you believe. And
Do
you have to be
Bermudians
careful.
even want a solution?
But you got to be careful how you use that term expert. For to me, X means an unknown commodity and spurt means a sudden gush of fluid.
I said at the top of the show that they really don't care until they can't get that fish.
That they
That's
pay
the
attention.
mentality.
Well,
When it affects
this is part of the challenge of not being able to get the facts readily out there and so that the average
Okay.
11-year-old can pick up the
So you
newspaper.
go first. This your last claim to fame. You got one thing to say to Walter Rabin about his listening and hearing and whatever. What is it?
It's not just to Mr. Robin. It's to anyone who
To
calls
who
himself.
it concerns, go.
Concerns everyone. Bermuda is and has been out of balance in many ways for way, way, way too long. And my personal contribution to this is to act as a fulcrum in an imbalanced situation, to always seek the balance. Those of us associated with the vet are very familiar with the need for balance. We're hopelessly out of balance, and we can't look at the House of Parliament for balance when there is such
There
a
is
staggering
no
difference.
balance.
There can be no balance in the House. So we have to strive for a balance. Our challenge is that we're working for a kind of balance, a protracted state of equilibrium that Bermuda has never truly known. In fact, the world has never truly known. So we're all about accountability.
So you're chasing a dream.
And it's a dream worth dreaming. Hope it becomes contagious. What they're saying now, viral. Okay. From this point on, you'll be hearing more about this because that's what we're striving for. Because the concern of the small businessman is no less valid than the concern of the big foreign company CEO. Yeah, we're talking about magnitudes of money, but hey, we can't eat
Well,
this
it's
up.
exactly what's going on with our economy. IB is holding us up, but the local part of our market is not thriving. There are still people out of work. There's still young black men who could be out on our water. Why are we not channeling the positive?
Our education system is failing us because we're still.
Well, how long have we known that?
We're still feeling the devastating after effects of there being no Bermuda Technical Institute. Good example. How much consultation went into it? How much public notice
None.
went into it before they shut down?
And
the
it was
tech?
driven by shut it down because they saw what was happening.
I just use that to this day. That is a
A
very
system that was never designed for us.
a relevant example. It's the most relevant example I can use on the education side. That's no. So we have to get the purveyors, the actual hands-on people in closer contact with the children in schools and their teachers. And I'm sure you're going to find
even
a
now,
commonality with what the teachers' grievances are about. Very similar to ours. They're very similar. The teachers, we depend on the teachers to help guide our children through. And as we depend on our taxi drivers because they are ambassadors for the island. We acknowledge that. Our farmers and fishermen are an oppressed lot. We're endangered species in what is supposed to be our own island. No, come on. No process that starts off bad goes good, unless there's some really serious,
30-6
serious
with a Labour
intervention.
government right now. With a 30-6 with a Labour government, I never seen so much Labour disenchantment in a long time. I would venture to say, if it was the OBA in power right now, they would be striking and acting up. But somehow, when it comes to our own, we take up a different script. No, that's a whole nother issue. I don't know what that's about.
That's another
But
episode.
what I'm saying is, we don't see the play yet. It's like the Wise Owl and the Tootsie Pop. How many licks does it take? The world may never know.
2 licks and a bite, my dear. That's what it takes.
Any closing words? I don't see how this is going. I mean, you're going to keep punching it, but I mean, long as they're listening and not hearing, what are we going to do? Do this dance till when? Next year? I'm getting new. Okay?
It's somebody on the other side, somebody in the government, the political parties, the caucus has got to realize that the players is only one Bermuda, 21 square miles.
And when it sinks, it's all going on.
And we're all going on. Either we work together and keep this island floating, or we don't. We always at strife, always arguing and fighting against each other, and the island sinks. We have to, one, respect each other. Right now, we don't have that at all. All the food producers, the entities that Craig just mentioned, the parties must respect. In order to get respect, they got to give respect. Respect us. We all come together and work out what's best for the island. In the case of Bermuda's marine environment, a plan, we are currently, the FAB are working on our plan. The government, for some reason, tried to impose a timeline on us. The time deadline is going, but rest assured, we are still working on the plan. I will. My secretary will probably have to make a correspondence out to the ministry, informing them that our plan is in a work in progress, and we would need more time to have it reach its conclusion. Keeping in mind that the BOP plan took about 3 years to put together. That's the marine spatial side of it and the Blue Prosperity Plan side of it. That's 3 years. That's about 15 months per section. The FAB has been working on the plan for 6 months. I don't see anything wrong with the government, the powers that be, giving the FAB a bit longer to finish their plan. Remember, the BOP people, professional, they on payroll, they were dedicated to doing this thing 24/7. My industry, the industry, FAB's membership, we're fishermen. We only get paid when we go to sea to make our living. For us to get the fishermen in to help draft this, put the plan together, it's most difficult. It's not easy.
So like getting you in studio.
Case in point. Case in point. But yes, the FAB needs more time to do the plan the way it's got to be done.
Where does this stand now? Like, is it law? Like, is it like...
No, like I said, it's a draft, right?
So what's the timeline on making it so? Next week? Next year?
No, they
Next
got us
decade.
on this 30-30 plan, which is 30% by 2030, right?
So you got time.
I see it, I think we've got time. The other side would say, no, you're not got time. We want X, Y, Z to be in place by, it was supposed to be at the end of last year. Now it might be the end of the middle of next year.
So when you say you're working on your plan, is to coexist with this or replace it or work with it? Or what?
Well, let's step back.
Please.
January 13th, when we presented the petition to the Premier. We had a meeting up in the Cabinet office with the Premier. The minister was there.
What did he say
he
to
wasn't
you?
happy.
By the way?
What the minister say?
No, what did Premier say?
The Premier instructed myself and the executive who were with me to come up with our own plan.
Okay, what did minister say?
The minister mum was the word. Remember
What do you mean?
Remember the minister was forced to eat crow.
Oh,
If we called down at the aquarium,
He wasn't meeting with you.
he
and then
said
the next-
he was not going to meet with the fishermen at
forgot
FAB.
about that.
And he had to eat crow, and he was ordered by the Premier to show up at the cabinet building.
So what you take that to mean? Spell it out for me. Like I'm 6. I need you to say it.
He came in, he was like a little child. He couldn't say anything. He was instructed by his boss, the premier. His deputy premier, David Bart, honorable, was the premier. He was instructed to show up at the meeting, and he couldn't say anything. He basically had to eat crow, and he was forced to work with the fishermen. Meet with me and my executive, and so that we can try to work toward getting the fishermen re-engaged in the process. Now, that's a whole different story now. Whole different story, because over the past 6 months, whilst we're supposed to be working on the plan, we've been trying to get this MOU, which we put forward, the FAB put forward, signed or agreed to and signed off on.
But you rejected that.
But we had 13 points itemized. We agreed to, I think, 12 points.
Okay.
But it was the first point number 1.
Which was?
Which was the 20%.
Which was the
That was the
Where did
deal
that
breaker.
come from, though? Like, where did it drop out? Like, where did that
The
come from?
20% came about
Like,
through the signing of the memorandum of understanding June 1st,
2019.
2019, right? Between
So if
the
you
government.
stick to the 20%, how much does it cut your industry by, like right now?
Well,
Like,
right
if it
now,
was enforced today, would it do?
in all the talks with the minister and the PS, they're intimating that the greater part of 20% will be the offshore, beyond the platform and the
Is that a big deal?
Yes.
It's a big deal when it
Because-
comes to further fisheries development
Okay.
of our industry.
All
With
right.
the inshore, they're looking at taking a big section out, but as Jamie has tried to say throughout this session, it's where you want to put it
Okay.
and the reasons why you want to put it there.
You wanted to add something, though.
Yeah, so one of the big areas, they want to do a buffer around all the mangroves.
Okay.
So that really impacts, there's not many guys that do bait net fishing, but the ones that do, they supply all the bait that gets sold
Okay.
on this island.
So,
They don't fish in the mangroves, they fish right next to the mangroves.
Okay.
And they need to be able to fish next to the mangroves. And they do not do any harm to the mangroves when
under
they're
this
there.
plan, they want to kill that.
Right. So the original MOU that was signed reads, designated at least 20% of Bermuda's waters as fully protected.
Right.
And the thing was, the original MOU never defined what full protection means. So
They don't know what they're talking about.
right.
Exactly.
So at one of our meetings with the executive team and DNR and the minister, we asked, does full protection have to mean no take, no fishing? And 2 voices spoke up together.
And say it.
The minister said, no, that's negotiable.
That's what he said.
And the technical officer said, yes, it means no fishing.
So,
What he said.
And at the end of 5 meetings, the technical officers won. And full protection had to mean no fishing. And that is why we had to.
so if there's no
Fine,
fishing
fine,
in those
MOU.
areas, how much would it impact you if it were today?
There is an economic impact, but it's more than that. It sets a precedence that is unacceptable to the industry. It sets a precedence that those areas could be expanded. It sets a precedence of general vague management instead of targeted management.
Okay.
It also sets a precedence of telling the public that fishermen are a problem, that fishermen are dangerous. So already, my husband's been out in his bait boat, and people have harassed and targeted and abused him because they tell him that he shouldn't be fishing somewhere when he's fully allowed to be. He's been verbally abused. He's had rocks thrown at him, bottles. He's had a gun pointed at him. And sometimes my children are in the boat. So when you tell the public that fishing is a problem, you turn the public against fishermen. And that's the cost.
Okay.
And then the other cost is the goodwill of the fishermen to be providing you with reliable statistics. If you're relying on the fishermen for the information, for data, you have to have a trustworthy relationship. Otherwise, they're not going to trust fisheries.
Okay.
They're going to underreport or overreport or whatever seems beneficial to them.
Correct.
So it's trust. That's the cost.
You wanted to
want
say,
a summary?
Please.
I think because many of these grievances that you're hearing parts of today are extensions of long-term concerns, long-term disparity in communications and getting the facts, first of all, to the government.
can we get it right? Like, just once, can we get it right?
This is it.
I'm asking you, do you think we can get it right?
I think what we have to do first,
Is what?
is a big remedial thing. I think we have to go back and see how a lot of this mismanagement was allowed to occur.
But it's still being allowed.
Listen to me. Hold on. I am all in favor of the bare essentials, the process by which we originally lost the departments of Ag and Fish and subsequently lost the entire Ministry of the Environment. Because in doing those three things, we've exposed our soft underbelly. Bermuda comes across as low-hanging fruit. And the wealthy of the world will always take advantage of the low-hanging fruit, just as you took those little ripe cherries and look what's when you was a small little girl.
That Bermuda oranges, which I
Let's
can't
not
find
forget,
anymore.
we can't find the oranges, don't worry about
Where
that.
you find them, let me know.
But do you get my point? For that, I see us adopting whatever we must do. Entertain whatever legitimate consultations we must do and invoke the petty process. Because the petty process is sanctioned. It is parliamentarily approved. And this will help to bring
What was
certain
late, Craig?
elements.
What late? What
It
late?
is
What
never
late?
too late to inject the truth. It is never too late for honesty, Miss Wilson.
In closing, I think we need another show. I think you need to bring Mouth next time because I like him. He punches harder than you.
Yeah.
I have a lot of things in my mind too.
Yeah.
You got to be
Yeah.
nice. Got to be tough.
Yes.
I have to balance it
Tell
out.
Mouth he was sadly missed.
Okay.
You'll find
Even
no
though-
lack of sincerity in our lot. And each one of us is willing and able to stand accountable.
I'm
for what
still
we
stuck on how we import more fish than what you think. I mean, and do you eat tilapia?
Mention the word.
No.
So that's what we want over.
No, but we almost made an excursion down that road. So I've always been a supporter, a real hands-on supporter when I could be, for mariculture. That is marine species, okay? So that's it. I mean, there's a lot there. A lot of ground yet to be caught up on.
You know, but it was mentioned during the protest, Delvin mentioned, you know, the rest of the world is talking about food security and we import, what, 90% of everything?
It's a big part of our mandate. It's a big part of what FAB stands for. And of course, I worked as a part-time consultant for our health department for 15 years. So maybe my colleagues at
Are
environmental
you half
health.
Canadian now, are you?
No, never be. 100%.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
100% local buy.
Look by.
You go a long way. What was that commercial? You look awful, you can't sing, you're good. What was that? A Kit Kat? Share my age knowledge. Any parting words? This is it. Thanks for coming on board finally. Let the public know it only took a year to get you in her.
Yes, it's been a
And
long haul.
threatened and coy,
Persistence.
you know.
This is one saucy girl when she wants
wanted to hang
things
up on
done.
him.
You know, sometimes I had to put on a
You called me
place.
names, I knew. It's all right.
But again, I try to be diplomatic with it. That's my nature, you know. But we're good. I look forward to come back again.
I think you're going to
further
run the
enlightenment.
mulberry bush a few times on this, though. You know that.
Yes, I know.
You
I know.
feel like you're wasting your time?
It got to the point, yes. You know, I talk
You
and talk,
got
but I'm not
depressed.
getting anywhere.
You didn't get suicidal, dude.
Heck no. I've been in the game for such a long time. A long time.
You're not tired, though. What would your
Frustrated.
dad say today?
He'd be just like my brother. Say no more.
Thanks for coming on board. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. I thought you were a guy. I'm sorry.
I am honored, and I'll be looking forward to coming back.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. It's a
Sure.
pleasure.
See you next time, Bermuda. We'll be back soon and keep supporting. We need it. Okay?